All this week as we get you ready for kickoff between your Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers, we are in a sub-battle with our NFC West division rivals. We want to prove that we have not just the best fans in the National Football League, but right here within this division and beat the Niners off the football field in addition to on the football field as well. Subscribe now. Take it to the Niners Report. I want to smack Chase Sr. in the face, and this is the best I can do. So subscribe now for free, and we'll get started with today's show. Well, Jim Rome is not burning anymore, so instead you get me with 5 burning questions for your Seattle Seahawks as we enter Week 14 of the NFL season. Seattle coming off of a 3-game losing streak. How will they turn things around? Let's begin with question number 1. Can Geno Smith get the job done for the Seattle Seahawks team? The Seahawks, over this final stretch, which is going to be some very tough games. The Niners coming up, the Eagles to follow after that. Still got to face the Pittsburgh Steelers. Arizona, even all of a sudden, doesn't look like a guaranteed win with Kyler Murray back, and Tennessee's got talent here. Will Geno Smith play at a high enough level for this team to get the necessary wins they need to remain in the playoff picture and to compete at the level that the Seahawks need to? Because it has been a year of peaks and valleys for Geno Smith so far this season. Even last week, take example, when he played great and had a terrific outing, it still was not quite good enough with the way the defense played. And so, can Geno play well when the defense plays well and all things come together? Cohesion at the same time? That's what's going to need to happen if the Seahawks are ultimately going to walk away with a playoff appearance when it's all said and done. And that remains to be seen at this point. If all of this can come together at the same time, if Geno can show that consistency, Seahawks need to see that. What do you guys think? Can the Seahawks get the job done with Geno? Can he take them to the postseason and get a playoff win? It's our pinned comment today. Y for yes, N for no. Weigh in. Tell me what you think if Geno can get it done or not. Number 2 on our burning questions. Jamal Adams. Will he wake up? Jamal Adams. There was so much anticipation, so much wait to see Jamal Adams, the president himself, make his return to the Seattle Seahawks in 2023 after all the injuries and everything that he's endured. Now, here we are 14 weeks into the season, and Jamal Adams is the biggest disappointment that this Seattle Seahawks team has seen. No interceptions, no forced fumbles, no sacks. Jamal Adams has been a bust. And we have talked about it in the past of the Seahawks, that trade they made several years ago to bring Jamal Adams in, and how bad the trade has looked over the years. And even when Jamal Adams is healthy now, they still can't get much out of him, and that continues to look like the worst trade in the history of the Seattle Seahawks franchise. That's the legacy that Jamal Adams is leaving right now. And even this year, he hasn't been fully healthy the whole season. He's played 8 games so far through what we've seen so far for the Seahawks team. So Jamal Adams, there's a lot of expectation here. There is a significant role that he plays for this Seahawks defense, and he is not living up to it at all, and something's got to change for the Seahawks to get anything close to their worthwhile, because they're simply just not getting that out of him right now. And I think that Jamal Adams, when you look at this Seahawks team, the mediocrity we've seen on defense and how overpaid Jamal Adams is, he's kind of a representation of the flaws as a whole for the struggles of this Seahawks team right now. You could point to Jamal Adams as the perfect example of that for this group where things stand. But to tell you about today's sponsor, that is Factor. This holiday season, you might be looking for nutritious, convenient meals to keep you energized on jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service, can help you fuel up fast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. With chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle while tackling all your holiday to-dos. Skip the stress of meal prepping over the holidays with Factor. Choose from 35-plus weekly flavor-packed, fresh, never frozen meals that support a healthy lifestyle and meet your meal preferences. All delivered right to your door and ready to eat in 2 minutes. Enjoy extra convenience any time of day with an assortment of 45-plus add-ons to suit various preferences and tastes. Choose from breakfast items like our delicious apple cinnamon pancakes, bacon and cheddar egg bites, and potato, bacon, and egg breakfast skillet. Or, for an easy wellness boost, try refreshing beverage options like cold-pressed juices, shakes, and smoothies. Head to factormeals.com/SeahawksChat50 and use code SeahawksChat50 to get 50% off. That's SeahawksChat50 at factormeals.com/SeahawksChat50 to get 50% off. I am a big supporter of Factor Meals. I love it. You can see for yourself. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Number 3 on our burning questions is the offensive line. Can the Seattle Seahawks offensive line show any form of consistency whatsoever? Can the Seahawks trust this offensive line to get the job done? It has been a lot of moving parts and pieces for the Seahawks offensive line throughout the season, in particular with the injury to Abraham Lucas that kept him out for most of the year. You just now got him back. But even your first game back with him this past week, I know the Seahawks didn't give up a sack, but that didn't tell the whole story. Next Gen Stats, powered by AWS, had the following tweet, which I thought was pretty fascinating to put this all in perspective. Geno Smith had been pressured 94.5% of his dropbacks tonight. That was last Thursday, the highest rate he's faced in any game in the Next Gen Stat era. Yet Smith had not been sacked in part due to 2.42 average time to throw, his quickest mark in the game over the same period. So Geno, no time to throw, but was under duress all night long and still had the game he had. Just give him a few more seconds, for crying out loud. Anything to help out Geno Smith to be more efficient in this passing game. And going into this past week, the nerds at PFF graded the Seahawks offensive line as 29th best in the entire NFL. So there is an issue here. Maybe it's not always giving up sacks, but just giving a few more seconds for Geno to get the football off. The offensive line's got to do a better job. And with Abe back now, there is no excuses. I don't want to hear any crying, no complaining, no bitching, none of that. This offensive line's got to get the job done. Pieces are there. Starting tackles are back. Offensive line's got to figure it out. Either shit or get off the pot. Confidence level in the Seahawks offensive line. I don't feel great, if I'm going to be honest with you. I'm putting it about a 5 right now. Scale it for me in the comments section what your confidence level stands right now. Commitment to the run game. You know, Pete Carroll and Shane Waldron, these guys say one thing and they do another. Gaslighting us like a politician. They keep saying that they're a run-first football team and that they want to dominate with the run game and use the run game to open up the passing game, and then they never do it, right? Their actions say otherwise. And these statistics show that the run game has not been that great so far this season. 27th in run play percentage. So they're only calling run plays 38% of the time. Rushes, yards per rush, 21st in the league. Rushing yards per game, rushes per game, 29th in the league. Rushing yards per game, 27th. Rushing touchdowns, 17th. So they're in the bottom half of nearly every rushing category. Now, the counterpoint you could say is, well, Tyler, they don't have any healthy backs. They have no choice but to throw the football right now. And part of that is true. With the oblique injury for Kenneth Walker, with the knee injury for Zach Charbonnet, but you still have to find a way to run the football in the National Football League. Every team that wins at a high level in the NFL runs the football well. Seattle's got to figure it out. They got to get this run game going. If it's not Kenneth Walker, if it's not Zach Charbonnet, why not Kenny McIntosh? I know a lot of you have been clamoring for Kenny McIntosh in the comments over the last couple of weeks. We saw a little more DJ Dallas this past week. The run game in some way, shape, or form has to get going if the Seahawks are going to be a serious team here throughout the stretch, especially weather is going to get colder. You need to run the football in January. Simple as that. The last question I have is, if things are not going to turn around, if the Seahawks don't get this thing back on track and find themselves as a playoff contending team, then there needs to be hell to pay. Somebody needs to lose their job. Or is there going to be some coaching staff changes? Because with the talent on this roster, the results that are there right now are not acceptable by any means. If you're content with what we're seeing from this Seahawks team and saying, it's a rebuilding year and it's a young football team and all that, it just doesn't work that way. I hate to break it to you here. I mean, we got the resume here. I mean, this resume is not good enough to get to the 14 playoff. I mean, this is like Florida State right now. With, your best wins are the Lions and the Browns. That's all you've done at this point. This team has greatly underachieved, and they find themselves outside the playoff picture. Just a few weeks ago, it seemed like, okay, maybe the division was a bit of a reach with how good San Francisco is, but surely they'll be a playoff team. Surely they're in great shape for the wild card. Not so fast with how things have gone the last few weeks. And trying to figure out the problem, as some would do, the truth of the matter is there are a lot of problems across the board. Offense is underperforming. Defense is giving up 24 points a game, but the defense is kind of left on the field a lot too, so it goes both ways, right? Turnover margin, 0.1. Penalties has been just atrocious, worse than the league. Even special teams. Jason Myers is having a bit of a down year as well. 78% conversion rate on field goals. No one is blameless. Change needs to happen if things aren't going to turn around. So, who needs to be fired from the coaching staff after this year? I want names right now. You can say Pete if you want, for all I care. Give me names. Who needs to go? Wait in that comment section. Tell me what you think. Thanks for joining us here on Seahawks Today. You're not fired. You can come back and be with us here on the channel tomorrow. We'll see you then. Subscribe now for free, and we'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today.